Good evening, everybody. I'll just hop straight into it. We've got the big man on stage. We don't want to waste a precious minute of his time. Good evening, Sonny. How are you doing today?
Not bad. Not bad. How are you guys?
Yeah, all good. It's just me today, lonely stage, but we will definitely be getting some people up to join us in a little bit. But yeah, personally, very good. Baby screaming away, so that's always fun. So I'm hiding on the other half of the boat. But yeah, all is well. Obviously, very exciting news yesterday dropping, which we'll be deep diving into soon. But folks, just want to do an opening. If you've got a retweet button in front of you, hit the retweet button. Let's get as many eyes on as we can. And the standard with Sunny. These spaces are very, let's say, unstructured, right? We want to open the floor. We want your questions. We want to just make it real, organic. Let's just chat. If there's something confusing, if there's something cool, if you want to talk about something else, just shoot a question. So we'll obviously start with a little bit of detail, but please get those thinking hats on and yeah, be prepared to hop up on stage and ask Sunny or myself, if you like, a question. All right.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff.
Let's go directly to open floors. Honestly, it's a very important program as let's say as a preparation for the Hayabusa stage, aiming for go for truly decentralization of network and renovate the protocol rewards coming from the network as well. So it's let's say it's a bit and also considering the existing or legacy VChain reward system and also the current X node program, IC node program, how we're gonna manage the transition, migrating to the future one. So that's why we wanted to, let's say, give a little bit more time to everybody so everybody can spend the time to analyze the future designs and make your decisions and also to prepare yourself for the future Hayabusa supporting, which we will need everyone's effort to go really decentralization goes to the next stage. So that's also linked to the we call the early birds rewards, which will give everyone, roughly like 6 months for make the transition, preparing for the Hayabusa launch. So yeah, any
Very
questions? Shoot up.
Yeah, so Sonny, why don't we just give them a minute to think because we have no hands right now. Maybe I'll ask you some questions to start things up, get the room warmed up. But guys, like Sonny says, feel free to hop out. We got a lot of cool stuff dropped yesterday, so I'm sure there are questions in the room. I gathered some from the community anyway that I saw around, as a failsafe. So I think Sonny, I could start keep it basic for the listeners that maybe not completely up to date with the terminology, but obviously
Mhm.
we've introduced this new rewards model powered by staking NFTs, which are powered by delegators and validators. Maybe you can start with a definition like what's a delegator, what's a validator?
Sure. Validator is, let's say, the simple. That will be the future, um, like today's authority mass node, but the current authority mass node with approval process, right? And in the future, the validator will be free in, free out, as long as you, let's say, fulfill the requirement of the, let's say, the minimum technical requirement about being a set up the node and maintain the networks. So basically, in technology term, we can say validator is a block miner. So basically, we still maintain 101 validator, who is going to be the block miner with the new design consensus involving not only the staking in the validator, but also involving the staking from the delegator to calculate the probability of each server or each node to mine the blocks decides the, let's say, the actual rewards to maintain the entire network securities. So basically the validator in short, in the plain language, validator is the one to stake at least 25 million watt, could up to 600 million watt per server, and run the physical server to do the actual block mining and extend the VeChain blockchain. So that's about validator. Um, and then when we talk about the data aggregator, that actually is a very breaking through innovation. I believe no one did that before. So basically, delegator is the NFT holder for the new economic node and also the X node. So basically, the current X node and economic node needs to swap to be the new delegator NFT. We can talk about the details in terms of how we're gonna swap, how we're gonna separate the VET staking and holding the NFT. Not as today, but basically, the new delegator is a new delegator NFT holder who is going to connect your NFT, also representing a certain amount of VET staking in a delegated smart contract to some validator. So basically, you attach your NFT to some validator, and then the validator's rewards or the probability to mine a block will also include your delegation staking, right? So basically, it's just a um, validator staking plus delegator staking totally together will decide the probability for each validator to mine the blocks, get the rewards from that mined blocks. So it's the first time, I think it's the first time in the history. Firstly, we use NFT other than just VT staking directly or any token staking directly. Secondly, we kind of open up to mainstream, let's say to people not having enough technology capability, but still able to participating the protocol securities. You kind of open up the door to, let's say, increase the percentage of the future VET staking. So think about that. In the most of the networks or the current world, if you want to run a delegation service or you want to run a staking service to secure the network or participating securing the entire network protocol, either you run your own validator, right? Run your own server to be part of the networks, whatever is 21 nodes or 101 nodes or unlimited nodes like Ethereum or Bitcoin. Um, so you can run your own servers, you can run your own miners. Let's put it this way, or you have to give your token to some staking service provider to do the staking for you. So honestly, it's a little bit ironic to describe that because we always talk about the decentralization is the first principle to run a blockchain, but that kind of staking service kind of make the decentralization part of the work to has to be centralized just because not everyone is technical enough or have enough technology capability to run the validator, right? So what we're doing is actually using a very simple way. Everybody, like almost every crypto user, knows how to do let's say, how to hold a NFT, how to, click a few buttons to finish the connection or attachment. It's kind of like a endorsement in the VBETA DAO. So basically, you have an NFT, then you endorse some of the application, right? But the difference is, whatever you endorse or whatever you connecting to any kind of validator, the NFT you're holding, you're connecting, representing a certain amount of VET, that amount of VET will be calculated, will be included in the calculation of the entire network security consensus. So that means to non-technical person, non-technical but the crypto user can use a very innovative way to participating the network security. So and also enjoy the protocol rewards, you know, by participating the network security.
Nice.
So it's really like for inclusive adoptions.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned the V beta parallel there because it's kind of bringing over that notion of X2 earn to the core protocol, which is, you make effort, you should get rewards. That's a very like Web3 way to, be empowered. Essentially, you made an action, you leverage your data, your assets, your collateral, whatever, and you generate a reward or return for that information or effort or contribution. So it's a pretty cool system, and obviously, yeah, applying that incentive philosophy that we've got running with VBeta right now.
Yeah.
Nice. I've just brought up two speakers. So Kyle.vet, I believe you were first, with a dashing Thor head. Looking good there, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, Jake, Sunny, good to chat with y'all. Question for you, just as I was reading through the posts, where is the 3 billion VTHOR budget coming from for the early bird staking program?
That's a foundation holding. Let's say foundation still holds a certain amount of VT, right? So basically,
Yeah.
like everybody, every VT holders, those VT also generating the VSOR. Um, in before, what we do is either we give it to the X node incentive or we incentivize the different builders, let's say when they need it, to pay for the transactions using the fee delegation feature. So for let's say the budget 3 billion vSOL budget is the existing foundation holding plus, let's say, until the end of 2025 or until before the Hayabusa launched, all of the foundation generating will be putting together, incentivize X node and economic nodes.
Gotcha. That's
So
that makes sense.
So yeah, so simply say there is no new mandate. I know recently there were some projects talking about like kind of minting the new token or somehow, but no, that's
Kronos.
not the new minting the token. It's a existing token, but the holding by foundation. Before we were thinking about to set up, let's say, a special incentive for like, well, it was like designed like that. Basically, we never use our VSOR. Always incentivize the builders, pay for the user transaction using the fee delegations and everything. So, but now this time, it just based on the treasury management, we kind of calculate for the current holding and also for the future holding until the Hayabusa launch. Let's say roughly before the end of 2025, everything we're putting together, there is a roughly like a 3 billion, and we might need to buy something back, but yeah, it's roughly close to that to incentivize economic node and X node, just to motivate everyone to do the preparation even before the Hayabusa launch. Let's say the way to do that, actually the purpose to do that is try to make the bootstrapping of the Hayabusa launch is more smooth.
Yeah, that's great. That makes sense. Yeah, no, I just was curious, if there's, I don't know, if it was like being bought from the open market or if it was, coming from the foundation. So that's great to
We
hear.
might need to buy something back, but let's say it's really. Firstly, I don't want to know.
Yeah.
It's really the asset management team are managing that, and also following the recent. Well, Mika is like 99% of the percent close, and we have to follow exactly a very extreme about the regulation requirements.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's great. In the same vein of rewards, if I can ask one more question, um, in the different broken out node rewards, will there be
Mhm.
rewards for the total vet held, or is it just for the like minimum amount of vet held for a given node or X node? So, for example, I have a strength X node, but I have more vet than the 1.6 million. My understanding is I'm currently, basically getting that elevated reward, like VTHOR reward at for each one of the vet that I hold.
Ah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, what
I
is the
understand that.
plan going forward? Yeah.
So basically, no, it's not gonna give the rewards to anything above, let's say, as a delegator. if whatever you're holding, the XNOMI node or X node. So basically, the technical design is the reward will goes to anyone holding that NFT, the new NFT, but also doing the delegation job connecting to each validator. So basically, um, logically, let's say in theory, when you have a delegator NFT, whatever is coming from X node or coming from economy node, you are connecting to some validator, and every block, if the validator mine the blocks, get the rewards, and then 70% of the block rewards will spread to all of the delegator connecting to that validator, even though there were some luck, like lucky impacts, right? But statistically, it's all mass. So from the long, let's say, when we accumulate enough amount of the blocks to be mined by the entire network, it's just averagely following the probability calculation.
Gotcha. That makes sense. That's great. So then, for me having, like I said, more than 1.6 million, would it be advantageous for me to then also have multiple of the smaller economic nodes to then
Of
delegate?
course,
Okay, gotcha. So you
of
can
course.
hold
That
more than one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's actually exactly the reason why we propose to, to design the three smaller level nodes, including the smallest one is just 10,000, right? 10,000 VET. So that means if you have more than 1.6 million, and you have a little bit more, well, I would say you have a two choice, right? Either you buy more back, buy more VETs, taking a bigger nodes, or you can create the different tiers of economic node, also participating, the delegator program to maximize your rewards.
That's great. Yeah, no, that completely answers my question. Thanks so much.
Awesome, great questions, Kyle. Thank you very much. I think next in line we had Philippe M. Da Silva. Have you got a question for Sunny or myself?
I would say I wish I had a question. You actually answered it in your reply, so appreciate it, Sonny. I hope I get to meet you again at the next consensus in Austin or some other meeting.
I think the consensus is going to be Torino
I'll
in
have to
May.
look. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
doing a lot of traveling, so we'll see. But yeah, it was nice meeting you last year. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten about you. I can't
Okay.
say where I work, but maybe we did trade telegrams. So
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is my anonymous, little hidden account. So.
Got to
All
stay.
right.
Well, but by the way, I already agreed to be the keynote speaker in consensus. I think it's in May, but I'm working on my visa these days. So let's hope everything gonna be fine.
Hey, don't you know you could just pay 5 million now?
No, no, I have a U.S. visa, no problem. I just need a
Okay.
Canada visa. Well,
Yeah, gotcha.
unless Trump gonna make the Canada to be the 51 state.
Yeah.
No, that's a joke. That's a joke. I don't think it's gonna happen.
But yeah, but thanks for keeping me up. Keep up the awesome work. I love the documents. Big fan as always. Have a
Yeah.
good one. Thanks.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks for the comments. Thank you very much. Mr. Whittleman, a regular on stage. How are you doing? Welcome.
Hey, Jake. Hey, Sonny. I just kind of wanted to pile on with Kyle's question with these kind of new X node specific delegator NFTs.
Mhm.
So it does sound like for example, using a strength X node, 1.6 million. That's what you would stake. But let's say I had 1.8 million, so then 200K of that would just kind of stay at my wallet because um, it sounds like it's just you just need to meet that minimum threshold. Is that correct?
No, 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 no. Okay. So, yeah, that's a complicated part, but we wanted to make it simplified in terms of user process. The future delegator NFT program, we're gonna call the system the Stargate, right? So basically, you don't keep the VET and the NFT together in your wallet. as today, you need to meet a certain amount of VT in your wallet, then you can keep the validity of the NFT. So actually, it kind of leads to some of the, let's say, misbehavior or misactions. I did a couple of times, honestly, to lost the two Mino X node because I'm moving the VET from one wallet to another. And then I didn't remember like, oh, this wallet also have a Mino X node. And when the VET drops like under 15.6 million VET, then I lost my X node. Right. So wow, I kind of buy back from the marketplace in a couple years ago already, but it kind of make let's say not so convenient, not so friendly user journey to most of the users. So in the future delegator NFT, you gotta stake the VET into foundation developed and running the smart contract, and then you will mint the NFT out. So there are two possible scenarios. If you have the current X node or economic node NFT, then you need to stake your VET amount and the NFT together into the Stargate smart contract, and then you will mint the new NFT into your wallet. So that means once you've done that, you will only have NFT in your wallet, but it represents your right. You can go to the Stargate to unstake your VET back anytime you want. Well, unless you're doing like 14 days delegation program, you need to wait until the lockup period, 14 days lockup period finish. Then you can withdraw your delegation and then go to the Stargate, use the new NFT to unstake exactly same amount of VET back. So in a nutshell, that means, you know, the new delegator NFT and VET will be separately. And even in the market, let's say in the future marketplace, you want to sell your NFT, don't forget that NFT will also represent to unstake a certain amount of VET back. So basically, that NFT's price or the value should be at least the certain amount of VET staked in the Stargate smart contract plus whatever the markup you want to put, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think I understand that where it sounds like, to stake the vet and your X node into the Stargate smart contract. But it sounds like, right now you can earn more VETHO, right, as an X node based on how much vet you have on in your wallet. But it sounds like I'll only be able to stake the amount of vet that X node requires. Is that correct?
yeah, well, you can only stake fixed amount of VET into the smart contract for specific X node or
Got it.
economic node. But if, like you said, if you have 1.8, you have 200K more, then you can use that 200K to get the new, I
Smaller.
think it's, yeah,
Yeah,
the new economic node. So that means you're gonna have a two NFT in your wallet.
right.
One is X node in NFT, another is economic node NFT, and or you can do different type of the validator. You can support different type of validator, or you can support one single validator as you trust that.
Right. Great. No, that's awesome. Thanks for clearing that up. I had a second part to my question that because I think there's still some confusion about as X nodes, right? Because we're
Mhm.
staking, let's say 1.6 million strength X
Mhm.
node, we get that X node delegator NFT back, and
Right.
then we delegate that to a validator. Now, my question is, let's say you wanted to move to a different validator.
Mhm.
Is that possible without breaking that new X node delegator NFT?
Yeah, of course, you don't need to break anything. So basically, every 14 days, you have a choice to move to the different validator. But remember, it's only linked to your NFT, right? The
Right.
NFT only, let's say the NFT is like NFT in your wallet. You can do whatever you want. You can sell it, you can move it, you can, delegate to the different validator, but not breaking up the NFT status because the NFT status is only valid based on the VT staking in the Stargate smart contracts. So unless you try to destroy the X nodes, unstaking the VT in the Stargate, then you don't need to break up anything.
Right, but if I have my new delegator X node NFT and I'm delegating to a validator, but then let's say I decide I want to unstake my vet. By doing so, I
Mhm.
will break that new X node
Yes,
delegator NFT.
you will break whatever the X node or economic node. Let's put it this way: if you have an X node, the new X node NFT, and when you decide to unstake, then you will destroy the X node as today, just like today. If let's say keep the VET under the threshold or your liquidity all, then you will lose the X node status forever, permanently, right? That's as today. And if you have a economic node and you wanted to unstake, you basically just return the NFT back to the smart contract. Then either yourself or somebody else could, stake the same amount of VET, waiting for the maturity time, and then can get the NFT back. So the only, let's say, if you're not, the only way, the only possible scenario you're not able to get your economic node back is just the cap has been reached in the pool. Because every tier of economic node, we design the pool, design the cap or limit the supply for each tier of economic node.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for the clarity because I know for the X nodes, like we've all been trying to figure it out, and sometimes with just words, it's kind of hard to figure out how it's going to work. But I think that you kind of explain things really well where it makes sense. Now, for the new economic node in the lower tiers, like
Mhm.
you said that you have set sort of how many of those, and that's the cap.
Yeah.
Is that a set cap, or do you feel like as the network grows that maybe you guys would add more tiers in the future?
Well, it's not you guys. It's like our guys. Like everyone kind of decided. For example, if the cap has been reached and then everybody still try to, stake more, then open up the proposal and we go for the governance voting, and then we kind of like, oh, let's open up more. Or let's say if VT valuation goes up, even the 10,000 VT could be quite a big number in terms of the value. Then maybe just like this time, we got the voice from the community saying, oh, why not we continue to lower the bar and to open up more people to join, or increase the cap, increase the limited supply, and then we just go for the voting process and open up. But in a nutshell, even the current design cap has been, if the current design cap has been reached, we already talk about 30 billion VET staking. Comparing today's about 2.5 as minimum requirement is more than 10 times already.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Thanks, Mr. Woodsman. I mean, that's a good point. We haven't really touched on that much. Economic security. It's kind of a bit boring, but not boring, that's the wrong word. But it's actually quite an important concept. I mean, Sunny, I don't know if you want to expand on that. Obviously, we have essentially 2.5 billion vet right now securing the blockchain fundamentally. The objective of this is also to bring more economic security to the blockchain. I don't know if you want to speak to that for a
Yeah.
minute.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, technically, we call it hard staking. As today, the VeChain blockchain is 2.5 billion total, or 2.525, right? 25 million for 101, 25 million each, and 101 nodes. So 2.525 billion that totally stake to secure the networks. But the point is, only those 2.5 billion that are securing the networks, and everybody else, including the current around the 2000 X node and less than 2000 economic node, are, we call it, consider as like a passive holding or passive staking, right? So that's what we designed with the Hayabusa launch. Basically, every economic node and Xnode will have opportunity to directly participate in the security of the networks. So every VET staking from the delegator will be included as a calculation, total calculation. We call it effective staking to calculate the probability of which node or which validator going to mine the next blocks. So that means instead of only 2.5 billion, then we can calculate the literally we kind of put every staking from delegator, X node, economic node, plus the validator staking into a whole to secure the entire networks. So based on the target, or let's say based on the cap design of each tier of nodes, if we're able to reach the cap, that means totally it's already 25 billion, more than 25 billion for delegator, and roughly, let's say, also could be, let's say, from a mathematical expectation, there will be, 7 to 8 billion coming from the validator to maximize the rewards, protocol rewards. Then, we're talking about a 30 something, 32, 33 billion total staking. You could be like 12 times, 14 times as today. That will make the VeChain Soul much, much more stronger and, almost unbreakable.
Amazing. Thanks for the additional context, Sonny. I think, yeah, next in line we had Mr. Dr. Trevor, sorry. Forgive me for messing up your prefix. Dr. Trevor Smith, how you doing? What's your question for Sonny?
Good afternoon, and believe me, it's just Trevor. My question is, will we be able to upgrade our new X nodes for those of us that are holding the lower tier? I have a VThor and I've always wanted to upgrade to a strength. Will there be a mechanism to do that?
Let's say that's a really great question. Actually, we already stated in the article. Firstly, when the Hayabusa launched, or even before the Hayabusa launched, let's say when the Stargate launched, no, there will be no more upgrades for, let's say, whatever the economic node or X node in the future. That's why we kind of elaborate now, give everyone at least like 3 months roughly to do whatever you want to do the upgrades. And also that's why we kind of, even I know it's a little bit, let's say, I don't know how to call it, is it risky, is it aggressive, but we kind of give the estimation in terms of the reward percentage because we wanted to tell everyone, you know, that you can make we want to tell everyone more information so you can make a decision earlier, and you can do the upgrades now. Um, you can do formal preparation other than when the launched, and then you find, oh, the APY seems pretty good. I wanted to upgrade, but you cannot upgrade because basically the upgrade functionality will, let's say, will be replaced by the design of the cap, and also will be, let's say, the new design will simplify users process, and also giving more value about X node and also the future economic node as well.
Okay, thank you. One more quick question. You mentioned a minute ago that if we wanted to hold more staked than was the limit with our X node, we could buy one of the lower tier economic nodes.
Yeah.
Will it be possible to hold more than one X node delegator in a wallet? Because right now you can only hold one X node.
Yeah, of course, you can hold more. Basically, like I said, it's the holding the NFT and also the VET staking gonna be separated. So you can stake more to get to the NFT, mint back. So simply today, every wallet can hold one X node, right? But in the future, let's say you have two wallets, you have X node one, you stake into the Stargate smart contract, get the NFT back, and then you have X node two, Number two, and you use a different wallet, staking to the smart Stargate smart contract, get the NFT back, and then you can transfer the, the X node number two to the first wallet. Then you can do whatever you want to do.
Terrific. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, Trevor. Appreciate your questions as always. Nero, I think you were slightly ahead of Lib. I brought you both up at the same time. So Nero, I'll go with you first. Welcome to the stage, amigo.
Thank you. Hey, Sonny. Hey, Jake. It seems like it has been a great idea to hold more than one X node. But I was wondering if it would be possible to receive a commemorative NFT when we burn our old X node NFTs to get the new ones. It could serve as keepsake to remember the old days when we were holding them. I've held mine for years, and believe me, it takes a lot of bravery not to break them every time VAT pumps. So for me, it's been my belief in your work, Sonny, that has kept me from destroying them. We don't need to.
Yeah.
Security, just
Well, that's exactly the design about. Like I said,
Quite a fun idea.
I even made my own mistakes to destroy two Mino X nodes. I was like really try to slap my face. But that's why the new design gonna be separated. That means as long as you finish the staking, you get the NFT, then you are the owner of the NFT. You can do whatever you want. But just a reminder, don't try to lose the private key of your wallet, then you lose everything. And also the let's say if you lose the NFT somehow, then you will not nobody will be able to unstake those VET from the Stargate smart contracts. Okay, so that means that amount of VET will be kind of like soft burned in the smart contract. You're kind of doing the big favor to everyone in the community if you do that. I mean, I hope everyone be very careful about the wallet, about the private key backups.
damn. Thank you, Sonny.
I think Sonny, he was asking, could there be a commemorative NFT? Like if you do the burn, like you almost get a I burnt my NFT, to transition from the current X node model to the new X node model. I guess it's quite kind of a fun thing. Maybe it could be something the community work on. I know obviously we have X node slayers
Oh,
with Mr. Whittleman's
Yeah,
application.
exactly.
So
Exactly.
maybe,
wait. You were saying like a collectibles, like a memories?
Yeah,
yeah,
something
like a
like that,
fun.
like a spellbound NFT.
That could be a very good idea. Well, I can go back to check with the technical team, like how complicated about that. But let's say, yeah, like Jake said, it could be a community initiative. And, if everybody loves that, we even willing to provide some grant to do that.
Awesome. Thank you, Sonny.
I see Mr. Whittleman down there emojiing away. Obviously, they have the Xnode Slayers Guild, which I've got my Slayer. So we're basically potentially burning all the Xnodes. So it could be something fun there. We'll obviously catch up on that after this space. Yeah,
So
awesome.
it's like a mimi coin, NFT,
I guess so. Yeah, why not?
but with a special value. So it's
Of
kind of like a
course.
memory, like a yearbook, right?
Exactly. I mean, for a lot of us here, that's like, damn, what massive
Yeah.
portion of our lives. 8 years now. V-Chain Soldier. All right, amazing. Thank you, Nero. Great question. Lib, welcome to the stage, sir.
Hey, Jake and everyone. Good afternoon, morning, evening, wherever you are. Thanks for the spaces. Sonny, you've answered all of my questions. Mr. Whitterman, most of what he asked was basically what I was trying to get some details around. So thanks for doing that. Yeah. So again, I don't have any follow-ups. Thanks for taking the time.
Okay.
Perfect. Well, there we go. Sonny's
That's the
very,
easy one.
yeah. Tick. No, thank you, Lib. Appreciate your time. Sonny's very good at answering lots of questions. So, the man's doing his job. That's good to hear. Right, great. Data. The fearsome Data has arrived on the stage. How you doing,
Yeah,
buddy?
let's go, Data.
Throw Sonny your hardest question. I want to make him sweat.
Uh, well, so my question is going to be about the way it'll be set up, I guess. One of the big benefits a lot of people have liked with Vet and Vethos staking is that it's non-custodial and it's liquid, and so it's just always feeding in, obviously.
Mhm.
And so with the transition, I know that it's a lot more difficult for people to be okay with a harder staking that's custodial. So is there going to be any, token bound account set up so where it's still in your wallet, but not, maybe nested in your wallet, not directly in your wallet. You can't see
Yeah,
it, but you still hold it.
yeah.
So I don't know if that's going to be kind of how it's set up or if it's going to be more of the traditional standard smart contract
Uh,
holds everything.
let's say it's quite a common practice. Firstly, if we talk about the locking period, for example, Ethereum, I think it's also 14 days. And some of the platform, I think Solana maybe is 2 days or 3 days. But again, it's always a balance, right? That means if you change too frequent, that will give extra unnecessary burden to the network synchronization and also all of the consumption of the resources. So, based on our study and also debates, there was big debates. Um, you know, that's why I come up with the 14 days as the standard locking period. In terms of liquidity, that means every 14 days you can decide to withdraw your delegation and then go to the Stargate smart contracts to unstake your VET to do any kind of liquidation you want. But for sure, if you want to come back, then decide firstly, you're not going to come back with Xnode unless you buy from the open market, right? Because Xnode is a permanent program. But if you're willing to come back to get the new economic node, then there will be a maturity time you got to keep in mind, especially for the menial economic node. You're going to take like 60 days. So that means you're gonna wait for 60 days, then you can re-enjoy the protocol rewards by then. So it's let's say it is a bit design in terms of economic motivation to encourage people to participate in the network security and also getting higher protocol rewards coming by doing that. So yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Lovely stuff. Thank you, Data, as always. Well, I think that we didn't actually get to like the headline piece, which was the title of this space, which maybe speaks volumes about VFAM. But obviously, we've got this huge early bird program coming up, and I mean, we touched on it. We've got the 3 billion VFO, but maybe we could talk about what it is, how it's going to benefit the initial kind of staking wave, yes, and give some details on that, Sonny, because of course we've got a budget of roughly 10 mil, as I understand it, which is pretty substantial. So, I mean, how are people going to benefit from this? How can they get involved? Like, what should they pay attention to? What should they be doing? All that good stuff.
Sure. That's Jake. That's a very tricky question because I just received the internal compliance requirement about like what we should say, what we shouldn't say. I
Okay.
gonna I gonna share internally, especially to our CME team tomorrow during the OKR reviews. But I will try my best. I will try my best. So basically, based on the budget we are planning, again, including all of the current holding and also the future holding from the foundation, we want to distribute or to all of the delegators to be. That means before the Hayabusa, even you get the NFT, you're still waiting for the Hayabusa to do the real delegation job and getting the protocol rewards. So we set up this early birds program to incentivize, and also based on the cap we designed, right? And we calculate the total amount of rewards to give to each tier of node. But even based on like if everyone is sharing um, that type of rewards, like even we reach to the cap, that means we gotta get total. How much for that? Let me see. I think it's about hold on. If we get to that, it's more than 630,000 nodes. If we reach to the cap. 630 something thousand nodes, including the existing X node, economic node, and everything. Still, we can guarantee the highest level could be, sorry, I shouldn't use a guarantee. My apology. In terms of the APY, it could be around like 9% for the early birds program. Um, Pretty close to the actual rewards after Hayabusa launched. Or even the smallest nodes could be almost double as today's passive income from every VET holder. So um, it's I would consider like it's pretty attractive. I gotta do it by myself for sure. Yeah, and also even for the X nodes, I know X nodes today is, let's say, more than the passive income for everybody else, right? But the X nodes could be from 2 times to 3 times as today's rewards in the early birds. Also, again, very close to the actual um, protocol rewards when the Hayabusa launched. And for sure, for the record, it will be varied based on the real network situation. And also it could be varied based on the validator status. By the way, I need to remind everybody, you got to choose which validator you wanted to support. I know lots of people were talking about like, oh, the current Australian must knows why you don't review the identity, why you don't review anybody else, like who is owning that, right? But with that kind of design, kind of address this issue. Because if you wanted to accept a delegator to support you, to increase your probability to mine the blocks, to gain the protocol rewards, then you gotta tell everyone like who you are and how you should be trustworthy, right? So basically, you kind of based on the design, you will motivate even the validators to show to the community, like, oh, let's say I'm a Fenbush Capital, I'm this enterprise, I'm a BCG or I'm somebody else, and you gotta trust me to support me so I can guarantee the availability of the validator, because remember that if the validator went offline, even in the 14 days, then there will be no more block rewards in that period of time. So worst case scenario, if you choose to support some validator as a delegator, then that validator kind of went offline, then you will lose the rewards for that 14 days, unfortunately. And the rest of the validator online will share the mined blocks and getting those protocol rewards, as the real rewards. And so that means people will care very much about, should care very much, care very carefully, like the legitimacy of the validator, and then looking for those validator has the best records, always online, then you can maximize the rewards. But also, even if some validator, when let's say extreme case, they went rogue or they went whatever, rock pool or whatever you called, my point is you will not lose your NFT. That means you will not lose your stake in VET even as a delegator. That's number one. Number two, the validator will not be able to manipulate or temper your rewards as a delegator, because the delegator rewards will not going through the validator first. No, we cut to the middleman. The validator will enjoy the 30% of the rewards on their own, but the delegator will enjoy the 70% coming from each block rewards automatically by the protocol level. So that means you don't need to wait the validator to distribute your rewards as a delegator. You will get the rewards automatically from the protocol level, from the smart contract on the blockchain. Nobody can change that. The only thing you need to be very careful is to checking the availability time. As long as the validator is online, you will get to your rewards.
Awesome. Thank you. Breaking Bads. I think we've Breaking Balls. Sorry, my bad. Breaking
Well,
Balls.
I like the TV show anyway. Breaking Bad.
Hopefully, you don't want to break Sonny's balls, but we've got you up here on stage. You got a
No, of
question?
course not. No, I think he's reading everyone's mind today. I think he just answered mine just as far as security goes, as far as the Xnode NFT. So the staking vet as well as the NFT will not be with the validator. So you're saying we're protected. They can't just take the NFT with them and run.
No, they cannot.
Okay. Okay, great.
They
That's
cannot.
yeah. That was my question, but you answered it. So thanks, Sonny.
Yeah. So that's actually nobody does that before. Like I explained, most of the current place or the networks, if you don't have the capability to run the validator, basically you have to give away your token to somebody else to run that, and also your rewards. Basically, you have to wait for, the validator to share the rewards to you. And most of the time, they will take the haircut as the service provider, right? So our design is basically, again, following the spirit, fundamental spirit of the blockchain is cut the middleman. So you can do the delegator by yourself, even you don't have a capability to run the server, to synchronize the networks, secure the networks, that's fine. We give, let's say this design will give you a very easy way to participate in the network security, to run the delegator, and then your rewards not going to be shared by the validator. Validator not going to take the haircut. However, there is another case is, let's say I don't have 10,000 watt, I have 2,000 watt, but I still want to participate in that. Then they still could be the service provider, or even you could be like super lazy as a user. You say I don't even want to change everything, like change the settings like every 14 days. By the way, if you don't want to change, you can keep like, oh, I can do auto renew to support some validator even every 14 days finished, right? So if you are like really, really lazy, you don't want to do anything, still there could be a market. Some of the delegation service, like today's V Delegate, like the V Station, or any staking service provider, they can say, okay, give me your VET. I do the best, allocation to see like how much could be in the validator, how much could be in the delegator, then give you the returns for sure. They might take some haircut out of the rewards. That could be not in the protocol level, or let's say nothing to do with VChain Foundation, but more like as community service or ecosystem service offering to the users. And actually, most likely, imagine that most of the exchanges or custodian service providers could run this type of the service to, not just like, because today, if you keep your token, your VET, into, let's say, exchanges to do the trading, then most of the time you don't get the passive income. um, Even you're not selling, you're just holding the exchange there. But in the future, exchange could say, okay, if you agree, you don't want to trade in the next 14 days or 28 days, you can buy some of my staking product, and I can use that type of VET to do whatever the validator or delegator to maximize your rewards even during the idle time when you're holding the token in the exchange. So that could be most likely applied to whatever exchange service provider or custodian service provider.
There we go. New economic models are opening up. Pretty cool. So kind of a delegation as a service product, essentially.
Yes, yes. So basically, we're kind of, by this design, it could make every player whatever your exchange, holding very large amount of VET, or your custodian also holding, let's say, institutional holding of VET, or you're just, a retail investor, retail holder, and everyone will find the possible way to do either validator, either to do the delegator. By the way, there is another point to respond to the first couple questions. Let's say if you have more than the VT holding, more than whatever the tier of the nodes, right? Whatever it's more than 1.6 million or more than 600,000 or even 1 million as an economic node, if you run the validator, there is a minimum requirement is 25 million, but every 14 days, you can change whatever you want to stake in the validation pool. Let's say you can go with 30 million, you can go with 35.3257, whatever, as a validation, as long as the total cap, meaning the validator staking plus the delegator supporting you, total cap is not reached to 600 million, then you can do whatever you want as a validator, by the way.
Amazing. That's good context. Thank you, Sunny. We've got one more speaker has arrived on the roster. Here we go. Better Collective. Should I be so bold to assume it's Vet Mike?
Hi there. Yes, that is completely correct, Jake. Hi, Jake. Hi, Sunny. As Authority Masternode holder, I have a question related to the validator user experience, like experience in itself. From what I understand from the article, based on like the validator and the amount of X nodes and eco nodes that um, delegate to you, you get an amount of weight which makes it more likely for your validator to
Mhm,
mine a block. Is that
mhm.
correct?
Yes, it is correct.
Okay.
So
So,
we call it the effective staking. So meaning, if you are the validator, let's say you have 25 million staking in the validator, then your effective staking will have the highest weights is by 2. So that means the 25 million staking will generating 50 million as effective staking. And then if a 1 million X node as a 15.6 million to support you in, and then your probable effective staking will plus 15.6 million plus multiply 1.5. And plus, if there is a one strength economy node to support you, then you need to add 1 million by 1 into the effective staking. Then the total effective staking will decide, based on the competition with others, will decide your probability to mine the blocks, also decides your actual rewards.
yeah, so it would make sense to get like as many Mjolnir X nodes, for instance, to cooperate with a validator to get the highest percentage of like block chance. Would I, as a validator, like, would there be a possibility to accept or decline delegators to be part of your pool?
There is only way you can decline anybody's delegation. It's you reach yourself to 600 million.
Okay.
So, that's actually the you ask a like $1 million question actually. You you went through I would say not only hours, days debate between protocol team, technical team, product team, community team about this. Eventually we said, I made a judgment call actually on this design. We wanted to open up the door to everyone. I know most of the validator in a good heart will open the door to embrace more community members to support you. But let's say
Mm-hmm.
if some validator is just saying like, oh yeah, I wanted to only getting support from my friends. I wanted to getting the benefits from them, but it will create unfairness to, let's say, especially to the smaller nose holders, right? So
Mm-hmm.
then this design is like, as long as you don't reach to the cap as a 600 million, then you have to open up to any delegator to support you.
Yeah, it makes total sense. Yeah. Thanks for elaborating.
Nice, good questions, Vet Mike. Obviously, quite an important one. I mean, it would be interesting to see how the dynamics of validators play out. I'm curious about that myself. Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah.
Competition ahoy! Amazing. Well, guys and girls, I'll put it out to the room. We don't have any more questions lined up right now, so I will start to wrap up. Unless anyone hops to the mic, then of course, we'll gladly answer your question. But yeah, I mean, Sunny, obviously, pretty radical tokenomics upgrades. I think everyone who's been involved for a long time can see.
I also wanted to add two more
Oh,
points.
please.
If you
Yeah.
don't, everybody don't have a question. Um, Actually, I was very hesitating to talk about this, but what the heck? We just be authentic, tell the truth to everyone. Lots of people ask me or discussing with me like, oh yeah, that design is great. Why do it now? You should do it like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever, right? I know everybody might holding that kind of the questions. Um, but the truth is, I've been thinking about this design for many years. Um, but honestly, before I was very hesitating. The reason is there is no clarity in terms of regulations. And we wanted to be regulated. We want to go to the mainstream. And I don't want to come up with some design, and then we have to change when the regulation comes on board. And we know eventually, like today, regulation gonna be like put in place, whatever for Europe, for US, um, is exactly as today's case. And actually, the most of the let's say I almost did that is actually after the Coinbase listing, because basically Coinbase listing has most restrict regulatory requirements, and we kind of get through that. And I was like, okay, maybe we should follow the Coinbase listing requirement and come up with this design to upgrade our tokenomics. And then after that, we everybody knows there is a the fucking SEC case against the Coinbase everything. Then you kind of hold my steps back and say, okay, let's wait a bit. But luckily, this year, starting from last year, that's why after we're getting more and more clear, signals, including the first signal is Bitcoin ETF approved in January of 2024. I was really exciting, because I was there, witnessed the first ETF applicants actually from 2013 and until 2021. Then the Bitcoin future ETF get approved, and 2024 the spot ETF get approved. So I was like, okay, then the regulation must be much more clear. And also for sure Mika in Europe is getting started by then, and for sure we were the one of the first batch to apply, start to engage with Central Bank of Ireland, to talk about the requirements, go with all of the process we have done in the past 12 months, and then following this more and more understanding about the regulation side, and then come up with this design. So I just wanted to clarify. I think you guys have been long time supporter of the VChain, deserve to know, the true story behind that. So that's the first point I wanted to share with you guys. And the second point, actually, it's a challenge to. I saw Paul is here from VChain Stats. There will be a future challenge to VChain Stats. It's not only about more information you got to review from the Explorer, to like how many validators are up running, how many what the availability for each validator to be the historical record, so the community can follow, right, to check. which validator is trustworthy enough or credible enough to be the to support with, to support you. But also, I'm sure there will be the biggest challenge in the future. It will be economic calculation for whatever the validator or delegator. What is the best um, you know, combination or allocation in terms of assets. Let's say the first couple of the questions. If I have 1 million VAT, so what should I do, right? Or let's say if somebody like some exchanges, whatever, maybe crypto.com or Coinbase or whatever the exchange, saying like, oh, I wanted to run the staking service for you guys. Then you need to do, let's say, a best estimation. If I do the delegator directly, or I keep my VET into the exchange, but buy the product for them so they can run validator or bigger delegator to maximize the rewards. So by doing that, that will brings up the challenge to VChain stats. How do we run this kind of projection, or at least to show like what is the past runs, like the last 14 days or 140 days? What is the reward status, the real world reward status? So allow people to do prediction or projection for the next round, and then make the best asset allocation, will make a best delegation job or action to each different type of the validators. Let's say give you guys an example. Just try to think about that. You're facing two different options. One, have 50 million validator staking there, also with 200 million as a delegator in that pool, and another one is 25 million validator, but with only 30 million delegator to staking into the pool. Then what is the best rewards you should do? You gotta run some simulation, or based on the records to see, and then the community every 14 days have something to think about, that have something to play with. I think if that will be keep a very active, not only with the VChain stats but also with community members.
Amazing. Well, Paul, you've Sonny's passing the mantle of responsibility, and
Well,
you guys can definitely meet the challenge, no doubt.
well, I can sit down with you guys, with Paul, with Fabian, to go through line by line to discuss all of the. I already have a few product designs, and we could make a VChain stats really, really cool, and everybody gonna love that.
Love it. Can't wait. Make VChain stats great again. Jokes. It was already great, Paul. We love it. The constant iteration. You guys are a
Yeah.
force. Shout out, Paul. If anyone hasn't checked out vchainstats.com, go have a look. It's got everything and anything you might possibly need. Data galore, everything across the blockchain. It's definitely the best block explorer. So much so when we go to Coinbase or the exchanges and they kind of pull up the default block explorer, you're like, no, 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 no. Use VChain stats. don't use the base ones.
Yes.
All right, amazing work. Well, I don't have any more questions lined up. So, Sonny, obviously we've grilled you for an hour. I think we've got a lot of great information. Obviously, we've just posted the article. We've got one more major piece to come. Detailing the ecosystem, and of course, we will continue comms as we go. We've actually got Galactica testnet coming in a few weeks, Sonny, if I'm not mistaken. So that will be interesting. Maybe not.
Yeah, it should be later of this month. Yeah, and then every builders, developers can test, or validators can test the testnet.
Exciting stuff. Moving at breakneck speed. And I see actually the CTO is in the chat. So, shout out
Yeah,
to.
Antonio is sweating now.
He's listening like, guys, stop promising. Shut the hell up. But no, Antonio is obviously doing a fantastic job getting the tech team managing
Yeah,
tech as well. So, shout out
agree.
Antonio. Uh,
Agree.
Fantastic. I mean, obviously we'll have plenty more stuff to come, even outside of the Renaissance bracket this month, guys. Going to be some very juicy news towards the end of the month. I'm just going to put that out there. I'm waving a big flag. I won't spoil it, but yeah, watch this space. I think everyone's going to like what's coming late March. Sonny, you know what I'm on about. All right, guys.
Yeah. Well, but I'm gonna give you a training tomorrow about how do we fulfill the compliance requirement.
Yes. Yeah, understand. Obviously, never promising anything in the future. Well, I mean, great news though by proxy. We're now fully MiCA compliant, regulated. We've just put the white paper on the website. So, we've always been about regulation, compliance as the path to adoption. I mean, it is the only path to adoption. So,
Yeah, now actually, just in the last couple of days, we're kind of make it official as a Mika format white paper releasing the in the website. So that's why tomorrow we have to do the internal training about how we make the best communication following the requirements.
absolutely. Us guys, we're playing the game. And obviously, unfolding regulatory environment globally. This is the pathway we have to tread, but we're doing it, and it's very
Yeah.
exciting. So,
Yeah.
onwards and upwards. Right, I extended my ad lib there just in case anyone had a final question, but no one put their hand up. So, Sonny, I'll let you go. I know it's 9 o'clock for you over there in Milano. But, guys and girls, thank
No, that it's okay. Nice, still young. For me, it's just getting started.
you're a late man, a late what's the word? Night owl.
Niall, yes, Niall.
Love it. Well, everyone else who operates on normal working hours, yeah, please thank you for coming. Hope you enjoyed. Check back to the recording at the start if you missed it. It is recorded, so you can hit play and restart that. But yeah, wish everyone a fantastic day ahead. Obviously, if you've got questions, you can find our inboxes. We've got VChain, we've got myself, Solomon Grundle, we've got Sunny. Yeah, hit us
Yep.
up. Hit us up. Yeah, wish everyone a fantastic day wherever you
Yeah.
are.
And also, thank you very much for joining this space. And if your friends having the similar questions, now you know the answer and spread the words. Help to grow the VeChain ecosystem like Dana White is doing together. So,
Yes.
yeah, cheers, guys.
Thank you, everybody. Goodbye. Good night. Peace out.
Bye.